Welcome, everyone, to the Man in Search of Gold podcast. I'm your host, Eric Mangold, and I'm the founder of Argosy Wealth Management. This is the show where we share ideas, strategies, and history to help you improve your life one financial move at a time. Let's get started. Hey, everybody. Welcome back. Man in Search of Gold podcast, episode 3 and episodes 1 and 2. I'll be happy to report both had more than 5 listeners. So look out, Joe Rogan, but here we come. Just kidding. So today I wanted to go over what it's like to work with a financial advisor, what it's like to work with me as a financial advisor, I should say, and talk about starting a financial planning process, because I get questions so many times about what's this like? What's it entail? What do we need to do? What does it cover? How do we communicate with each other? Get a lot of these questions. So I figured I'd throw a podcast together and talk about these things. Okay, what is a financial planning process? What do we cover? Understand, we cover investments. Absolutely do. Financial planning, right? Big part of this is investments, but it's not the only thing we cover. There are about 18 different wealth management issues that I like to call them. And I think I'm going to do a podcast that's going to cover all 18 of those. Hopefully it's not too boring. But the 18 wealth management issues are going to cover from broad topics like things like investments. That'll cover like your IRA, your brokerage account, your stock account, your Roth, your 401k, those types of things, as well as protection. How are you protected? Are you protected? Do you have the right home, auto, and umbrella insurance? Now, while I'm not licensed to do home and auto, I look at it a lot, and I'm able to determine if it needs to be increased. Okay. We look at the estate planning on the protection side. We look at, is there enough life insurance? Is there enough disability insurance? So those are the things we cover in protection. We cover cash flow, which is like the money coming in the door and the money going out the door. People call it budgeting. I like to use cash flow because I think it's a more practical term, because budgeting thinks, okay, if I'm going to budget, I got to cut certain things. Cash flow to me is if there's a hierarchy of how you plan your cash flow out when it comes in the door, it's a lot easier to manage. Okay. Now, out of these 18 wealth management issues, some may apply to you and some may not. And it's through our discovery process that's going to determine, okay, what issues apply to you, which ones are you going to need and plug into, and which ones are not going to be applicable to you. And we have to look at all those areas, because I don't want to leave a stone unturned and potentially set something up to fail or invite more risk into the portfolio or the household than is necessary. Okay. You don't want more risk. We want less risk. So that's why I'm going to be looking at all these different 18 wealth management issues and seeing which ones apply to you and which ones don't. That's what I cover, right? Let's talk about how it is to work with me, right? Like, there has to be some criteria. We call them work relationship criteria. You know, the first thing is that in work relationship criteria, what are the 3 main components? Like, trust, and professional respect. If we like each other, awesome. I mean, I have a lot of clients that have become friends, and I value those relationships, and I'm blessed to say that. Trust. There has to be trust there. I mean, I can't tell somebody to trust me. I have to earn that trust, and I have to continue to earn that trust with each and every client interaction. When we're getting out of the gates and just getting started, there has to be that trust where people know that I am going to do my very best to help them get from point A to their financial summit. And then there's got to be respect. Same type of thing. If it's mutual, it's great, but the respect has to be there. Because if you're not going to respect what I'm trying to do for you, then when it comes time to implement and execute on the strategy, you're probably not going to do it. Out of like, trust, and professional respect, I would say you want to check all 3 of those boxes. If we get 2 out of 3, that's okay. But if you think about it, getting from point A to your financial summit, if there isn't like, trust, and professional respect, how easy is it going to be to implement the strategy? Okay. Now, that's not to say do everything I say, never question it. That's not what I'm saying. But liking each other, trusting each other, professionally respecting each other are 3 critical boxes we need to check in order to have a really good relationship. And that brings up into my next point, that working with a financial advisor is a long-term relationship. It's something that's going to happen, and something that I like to say, for Top Gun fans, I'm your financial wingman. When something comes up in your life that has an impact into your finances, I want you to call me and see how I can help. There are going to be times when I'm not the right expert. For example, maybe it's for tax preparation or estate planning. I obviously look at all of those things, but I'm not the one that files your tax return. I'm not the one that, even though I read wills a lot, I'm not the one that will draft your will. That's for a trust and estate attorney. But I have a really deep bench of folks that I have worked with over the years that I like, trust, and professionally respect, who are experts in those particular fields that I can refer clients to if you don't have that resource. And not everybody does, and that's okay too. So the work relationship criteria, like trust and professional respect, and then it comes into this is a long-term relationship. This is a long-term relationship. I want you to call me when something comes up because that's what I'm here for. Good to be there in good times and in bad times. Yeah, it's easy to call and talk when your accounts are up. Everything's protected. But I've been through issues with clients when they've had a spouse that's had cancer or dementia or lost a spouse. I've been with clients through divorce. Okay. And that's the time where I've been with clients through COVID. Let's think about that for a second. COVID was a great educator. Okay. I'm not talking about the emotional toll COVID had on people. Okay. But when the markets were going down during COVID, I was talking to clients, some of them weekly, because they needed to hear that. They needed to know that somebody's watching their back. They needed to know that wingman was there. Even though the markets were volatile like crazy, they needed to know they had that wingman. And that's where that long-term relationship comes into play. That's what I'm here for. It's a long-term relationship, again, to help you to get from point A to your financial summit, whatever that may be, whether that's retirement or planning college for your kids or giving money to charity, giving money to heirs, whatever it may be. Now, another topic that I want to talk about is people say the hot topic these days is comprehensive financial planning or organic financial planning. Okay. I hear that a lot. What does that mean? Because I've run into plenty of folks that say they're financial advisors that say they do everything. But then when it comes to looking and reviewing over someone's life insurance and is it right and is it enough, they don't do that. I've had financial advisors on the flip side of that coin that focus strictly on the protection side of the balance sheet, like life insurance, disability insurance, long-term care insurance. And then when somebody says, hey, can you take a look at my Roth? I don't know if I'm invested the right way. I think I'm taking too much risk. Yeah, I don't really do that. So, and then I find financial advisors that have said they do everything, including the estate plan, including the tax preparation, or at least having those resources to do that for them. But if it's not putting any money in their pocket, if they're not getting paid for it, they don't really see everything through. And if you're not going to see everything through, then, it's not going to be a complete job. If you're not going to see everything through, it's not going to be a complete job. And again, do we open ourselves up to risk or potential losses? So that's where I say comprehensive financial planning. I go back to those 18 wealth management issues to say, let's look at all of them. What ones apply to you? Let's get after them. Okay. I want to touch on another topic and another question that I get often. And it's not I never blame someone for this. It's not their fault. But the industry, my industry, has trained folks to say, well, if I'm going to work with a financial investor, what's your minimum, Eric? What's your minimum? And I don't like that question. What that question means is that in order to work with me, in order to start work with me, that I need a minimum dollar amount of investments in order to start working with me. So what does that do? That turns every single human that I speak with into a dollar sign. And I don't want to do that. That's not who I am. That's saying unless you have enough money to invest in me day one, I can't work with you. So I don't work like that. I've never liked that philosophy. Again, I think it dehumanizes people into dollar signs. Also, I work with a lot of physicians, and I work with physicians, I say, from residency through retirement. And a lot of the physicians that I work with, I started working with when they were residents and they weren't making a lot of money. Now, if I had said to them, you're not making a lot of money, you're not going to make my minimum investment threshold. If I'd said that to them, then they wouldn't be clients today. And I can share with you that a lot of the physicians I work with today that started working with when they're residents, they are really great clients now. Okay. So I don't like what's the minimum criteria. So if someone wants my help and they like, trust, and professionally respect me, then I'm going to give them my help, and I'm going to do the very best I can for them as well. Okay. So, and also remember, I'm not everybody's cup of tea, and everybody might not be my cup of tea. So if there is that, that feeling, that's okay. Right. That's okay. And I always say to somebody, listen, if I'm not your cup of tea, I'll do my very best to introduce you to one of my partners who might be your cup of tea, who is still going to help you. Okay. What are some other things we talk about? Well, do I charge a financial planning fee? Yes, I do charge a financial planning fee. I do that for a few reasons. And the money really isn't the main one. The reason I charge a financial planning fee is it helps clients have skin in the game. Now, it's their plan, right? One would think you want to have skin in the game, but I need to see a lot of data when I'm working with a new client. I need to see a lot of data. I need to see statements, tax returns, cash flow, understand what are the goals. There's a lot of things I need to see. And sometimes it takes a little bit of time for clients to get all that information over to me. So, and that's okay. But ideally, you want to keep the process moving forward at a let's call it a client approved pace, meaning is the pace digestible for the client? Are we moving too fast or are we moving too slow? We want to be someplace in the middle. We want to be someplace in the middle so it's easy to digest and understand and execute on the plan. But if I'm waiting around for weeks on end for a statement that I can analyze or a tax return I can analyze, it doesn't help anybody. So what I've found is that with a financial planning fee, clients are really engaged and they get me the data that I need to see so I can do my best work for them. I do my best work when I have full and complete and accurate data for my clients. And I think they want my best work. I'd hope so. Another reason I charge a financial planning fee is that a financial planning process is three meetings minimum, right? If a financial planning fee is charged, then typically I have less meetings get rescheduled. Again, people have skin in the game. And listen, sometimes things happen. I had a client a couple of weeks ago who her son fell off the swing set, broke his hand, a bone in his hand, and it was one of those things we need to reschedule a meeting. That kind of thing happens. I have 3 kids. That kind of thing happens. Okay. And I understand that. But if it's just, oh, I forgot, I didn't remember that meeting, it doesn't really happen that often when folks pay a financial planning fee. Okay. Okay, let's talk about you, the good stuff. Okay, I need to know a lot about you. And again, I work with a lot of physicians. What I say to them, I need to take a financial X-ray of your life. I need to see your balance sheet. What are your assets? What do you own? What are your liabilities? What do you owe? Let's look at your investments. What's your tax plan? Are you paying too much in taxes? What are your goals? What are your hopes and dreams? What keeps you up at night? What worries you? What are things that are in the back of your mind? If you're married, are your goals aligned with your spouse's goals? For example, when couples get close to retirement, some of them want to continue working. Some of them don't. Some of them want to work part-time. Some of them don't. What are their legacy objectives? How much money they want to leave behind to their kids? All this information kind of comes out and we need to talk about it. And a lot of times, I would say more times than not, where I'm meeting with clients and I'm asking them all these in-depth questions and they're sharing their information with me and their stories with me. And I want to hear the stories. I love hearing their stories. A lot of times what I'm hearing are things that they're talking about, issues and ideas and goals that one spouse is talking about, the other spouse may not know that they had. So again, that's really great, but I need to know all this stuff. Okay. So it's a very private, very personal type of situation. Not to mention the fact I want to say on kind of a tangent, everything I do is confidential, right? Because we are talking about a lot of private information. I don't share client information with anyone. I mean, that's against my morality, but it's also against my licensing. Okay. So we take the X-ray of your financial health, where you are, what are your hopes and dreams, and then how can we get into moving you forward to reaching that summit, to reaching those goals, to achieving those hopes and dreams, to checking off those things on your bucket list that might have a price tag associated to them. Okay. Now, when we get right into it, I typically cover protection first, things like life insurance, disability insurance, long-term care insurance, the estate plan, your home umbrella, auto insurance. Again, I'm not licensed to sell that stuff, but I want to make sure that it's right. If it's not right, or if it's not enough, I introduce you to one of my experts that can help you with that. Okay. So I was working, as an example, I was working with a new doctor one time a couple of years ago who was in the midst of putting in a pool in his home. And I said, okay, do you have that umbrella policy on your home and your auto insurance? And he looked at me and didn't know what that was. And that's okay, because that's pretty common. But I said, listen, doc, not one drop of water goes into that pool unless you have an umbrella policy. Okay. So it was things of that nature that we cover in the protection meeting. Again, estate planning, are your wills done, your healthcare proxies done, your power of attorney. Again, I'm not an attorney, but those documents are done, need to get done, especially if you have kids. Okay. And again, I can recommend to someone a trusted estate attorney that I trust, no pun intended, to do that work for you, to do great work for you. Okay. So then we touch on in their investment analysis. What's your speedometer on risk? Think about a speedometer. Are you driving too fast? The speed limit's 55 and you're doing 85. You're probably going a little too fast. The same can be said for your tolerance for risk. Are you all invested in 100% equities, but you're really more of a conservative type of investor and you just didn't really realize it? Okay. Is your tolerance for risk, are your investments more risky than you thought and what you wanted? Okay. So also we'll look at when you're investing for your non-K and IRA type of investments while you're still working, any type of investment account where you are paying taxes, like a brokerage account. Okay. And is the tax bite too much? Because what we can typically do is save clients hundreds of thousands of dollars in taxes over the course of their lifetime by implementing a tax efficient investment strategy. We can talk about that more in a different podcast. Okay. I always talk about tax planning is different than tax prep. A CPA is a vital component of a great CPA is a vital component of anyone's financial plan. And they focus typically on tax preparation. I focus on tax planning as a financial advisor, how I can save you taxes going forward, while CPA typically looks at how they can save taxes looking backwards. How do they save taxes last year's return? I look how we can save taxes this year, next year, 5, 10, 20 years down the road. Okay, that's tax planning. And if you aren't managing the taxes of your investment portfolio as you invest, portfolio will never be optimal. Okay. Then, is there a specific issue or goal that we need to focus? Are you getting ready to pay for kids for college? Or did you just have kids? We need to make sure you have enough life insurance. Are you getting ready for retirement? How much money are you going to need in retirement? What are your expenses going to be like? Are you going to move? Okay. Do you have parents that you need to take care of? Do you have philanthropic endeavors? Are you planning to file for Social Security? Okay. All these different, maybe specific line items we need to address, and we can carve them out and address them individually. Okay. And then we bring it all together. Finally, we bring it all together. We talk about strategy, harmony. An orchestra has got the different sections. And if the woodwinds are not playing in sync with the percussion, it's not going to sound right. Okay. If the protection piece of your balance sheet and strategy is not in sync with your investment and tax planning and estate planning part of your balance sheet, then it's not going to be optimal. It's not going to work at the best that you want it to work. So what is the strategy? How are we taking all these pieces, plugging them in together and having them work together? Okay. Also, what's the action plan? Because in the financial planning process, in the first few meetings, we're going to be talking about a lot of things and how we get from point A to point B. I'm going to be doing my analysis. I'm going to be giving you my recommendations, and then an action plan. What are those things you need to do in order to move this strategy forward? Give you a really easy example. If you don't have your wills done, part of the action plan is going to be contact a trusted estate attorney to get your wills done. Okay. And if you don't have one, I can obviously recommend someone to you. But the point is, are you going to get it done? Remember, Top Gun fans, I like to be your financial wingman. What I also say is I assume consent. We're going to work together. And there's things I know you need to do. You're going to give me the permission. You're giving me the permission to bug you about it. Okay. Great example, like wills, getting them done. Hey, did you get that done yet? No. Okay. We're really going to get that back on your calendar. Okay. I had clients that had kids and they had no life insurance. They had 3 kids, no life insurance. We made sure it was, hey, did you get that done? Let's get it done. Okay. Really need to get that done. Okay. I assume consent. I can be that a little annoying nudge to say there's things we need to do and things you need to do to make sure that, again, we're getting you to that summit, from point A to that summit. Okay. The action plan also has to be manageable for you. I don't want you drinking from a fire hose. And different clients move at different speeds, right? You could say, hey, I want to drink from a fire hose, or just give me one snackable item at a time. Okay. And whatever speed is good for you is good for me as well. If the plan is implemented, it benefits everybody. Now, if folks do become clients after all this analysis and recommendation, awesome. I'm looking for the long-term relationship, right? Because again, the wingman, as things come into your life that may impact your balance sheet, I want to be there to help. I want to be there to help. I want to be the financial go-to, the guy that's there in the good times and the bad times. People also ask me, how often do we talk? And I say, well, we have to meet at least twice a year. That's the bare minimum. But if something comes up, call me, email me, let me know what's going on. I love hearing the good stories. Kids getting into college, kids getting jobs, getting ready for retirement, taking that new trip, taking that second trip. I have clients that are literally on traveling around the world right now. I think they're in Vietnam right now. I can't wait to hear about their trip. Okay. But if there's something that comes up, I want clients to know that I am there for them no matter when it may be. Okay. I love hearing the stories, but I also need to be there again in good times and in bad times. So that is, in a nutshell, in 20 minutes or less, hope it didn't bore you, of what a financial planning process with me would look like. And I take great value and pride. I love what I do. I really love what I do, because I've seen the before and after pictures of when people have come to me, what they look like, and when they leave afterwards. And we're getting them on that track to reaching their financial summit, to doing the things that they want to do in life. And that feels awesome. That's the feedback that I've gotten too from clients, that they know I'm there. They know I'm their wingman. So that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed the show. If you want to learn a little bit more, check out emangold.com, www.emangold.com. Again, www.emangold.com. And remember, the time to have the map is before you enter the woods. That's the saying from the Boy Scouts. I'll end it there. Thanks. Have a good day.